So what Rumi advises us is simply to be true to our heart, to be aware of that need, longing, void which waits to be filled, and advise us, embrace the fire, surrender, don't stay just in the mind, embrace the fire, have this courage to jump into that abyss of love. And he also said that this yearning cannot be learned in any school. It's just this longing and learning which indeed cannot be learned in any formal education. And indeed, if we look at our formal education, years and years of studying, learning, we realize that this training of our being was mostly about our mind. We learned many useful, beautiful things in school, even though some didn't like too much, still it was useful. And we learned history, geography, we learned physics, mathematics, logic, induction, deduction, so how to use what we know in order to know more or to expand our knowledge. Very useful aspects. But all of them are in connection with our mind. It was just a training of our mind, a useful training of our mind. The mind, as a tool of ours, indeed should be trained. But there is another dimension of our being which was almost ignored. Our culture, our educational systems simply ignore this domain of the heart. So in the domain of the heart, we are almost illiterate. We have also the examples of the people of this world, the powerful people of this world, or the smart people of this world, the educated people of this world, which sometimes, many times, don't show, don't express any sign of love or compassion. And this becomes our models. And this is how the society becomes more and more alienated. It is true that art, some forms of art, of course, can awaken the heart, or can bring us or awaken us to this sense of ineffable. But not in a very clear or systematic way. Of course, the ways of training the heart are not the same as the ways of training the mind, but it is definitely possible to train the heart as an organ of knowledge, to open more to that depth of our being. Even in the Sufi tradition, a sheikh or a priest was considered a trainer, a physician, a doctor, and a trainer of the hearts. So there can be, or we can see, this training of the heart. And in Hridaya Yoga, we start from the premises that the heart can and should be trained. There is a possibility to cultivate, simply through this awareness, to cultivate love and longing and spiritual aspiration and purity and truthfulness. And this is so essential for the truth that we are. So, training the heart. after all these years, comes to be so relevant and so important. It's not just about emotional intelligence. Now we have this concept, and more people start speaking about this emotional intelligence, which is another form of intelligence in connection with the heart, which brings sometimes more balance and harmony. I would say that this is only a reflection of that longing, of that pure love, of that unconditional compassion and beauty of our being. So definitely it is worth to train our heart. Many times people are speaking about listening to your heart, listen to your heart, or follow your heart. But this remains just a nice recommendation or just a metaphor, because practically we ask then what this would mean. Listen to your heart means listening to my emotions. Sometimes my emotions should be controlled by the mind. So what means listening to the heart? I hope that through meditation in this retreat we will have, and through some methods, some practices, some teachings, we will start learning how to cultivate the heart, seen as an organ of knowledge, how to open more our heart. Actually, in this afternoon we will learn a method to open our heart, how to open our heart more. Ramana Maharshi recommended the awareness of the chest area, and he was even very specific about this. He said we should focus the attention in the middle of the chest, a little to the right, one finger width to the right. Now, we shouldn't take it mechanically. Any of these approaches shouldn't be mechanical. This mechanicism is coming mostly from the heart. You want the precision, where exactly the point is. Some people ask me, I want to a tattoo, to make a tattoo here, a dot here, to know exactly where. It's not about finding exactly the precise point in this way. It is rather an echo that comes from inside. If you don't feel it in the right, it's okay. It can be in the middle of the chest or whatever. You bring the attention in the chest area, and then it may happen that it comes like an echo from inside, which is reflected mostly in the right part of the chest, in the middle of the chest, one finger width to the right, a little bit to the right. But again, don't be frustrated or don't limit yourself if you don't feel it exactly in the middle of the chest towards the right. This reference to such a point appears, apart from the teachings of Ramana, appears in many texts. For example, there is a Ayurvedic book, the classical Indian medicine book, named Ashtanga Hridaya, which speaks about this. There are other texts like Sita Upanishad, Mahanarayana Upanishad, speaking about this place. That Ayurvedic book names it Ojasasthana, the place of radiance, the place of radiance, the place of power, of radiating spiritual power, essential power. Ojas, essential power of our being. And Ramana Maharshi also recommends this awareness in this area. Why? He gives a very commonsensical reason. Of course, first of all, is his revelation is how he came to perceive, how he actually perceives it. But there is also something very, very commonsensical here, because everybody, when refers to herself or himself, would say me, pointing to this area. So we say me, pointing to this. We don't say me, pointing to the abdomen or to our elbow. It's me. Are you speaking with me? Pointing always in this chest area. So intuitively we refer to ourselves as this area, or the core of our being would be this. We don't say we came here, or I came here pointing to the legs, but pointing to the chest. Even when we refer to an intellectual act, I thought about this, you may show your mind when you emphasize the thinking, I thought about this. And then you show your head, I thought about this. But when you emphasize yourself, I thought about this. And then you point in the chest area, it is me who thought, and then pointing in the chest area. So it is an intuitive tendency for all of us to refer to this I in the chest area. And this is the starting point. You see, it's a very practical approach. We are not necessarily referring to a transcendental self, Atman, which is universal. We may say, well, I cannot perceive such an ineffable transcendental, I don't know what is this. Ramana recommended to start this journey to this I. This I is something which all of us perceive. So this is something which intuitively is accepted by all of us. Yes, it's a me, and I refer to this me here in the chest area. Start and look where is the source of this I, or this me. So go following this I feeling back to its source. Look at the very source of this I feeling. This is all that is in self-inquiry.